All right, we will go ahead and get started now. As I mentioned, training should be about 30 minutes or so. And you guys are more than welcome to unmute yourself. If you just press the space bar for a second, you can unmute yourself real quick if you have a question or if you want me to repeat something that I just went over, you couldn't hear me or whatever it is. Don't feel like you're interrupting if you need to jump in. What we're going to cover is the basics of what a Google site is and how to create it and some of the unique features that I found beneficial, and basically let you explore from there on what you want to do. Make sure you know how to find it, how to create it, how to publish it so other people can see it, and then just a lot of the features that you would be able to add to your own. I do also want to mention that Ms. Daly reminded me of some of the district initiatives for virtual instruction, making sure that you have a website with teacher bio, syllabus, schedule for your students available whenever we do start school in September. All right, so Google Sites is actually something that all Fort Worth ISTE teachers have access to, or anybody that has a Google account. So if you wanted to use your teacher account, I would recommend that because if you create it from a teacher account, somebody unmute yourself. Can you guys see my screen here, the Google Drive?
No, we cannot.
Okay, well, let me make sure that you can. Okay, can you see this screen now?
Yep, we're good.
All right, fantastic. So let's say first, let me just go to a Google page here. Whenever you go to just Google, if you wanted to Google something, then top right, you should have be logged in a Google account. If you're not, just log into your Fort Worth ISD or your personal Google account. You have this little waffle up here, and you should have a Google Drive. Now, if I went to my Fort Worth ISD account, it'd be, I think it's at the top, but for my personal one, it's listed right here. Once you're in your Google Drive, if you have stuff already in there from the district, great. You know how to use it a little bit. If you don't, this is a great place where you can store a lot of stuff other than your OneDrive by Microsoft. We also have a Google Drive that allows us to have, I don't know, I think it's like 25 gigabytes of storage for the Fort Worth ISD. In any case, right here, this new, if you only look at the first few, hopefully some of you guys are familiar with Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. When you click on More, there's one of the options is Google Sites. So from your Google account, click the waffle, go to Drive, and in Google Drive, click on New, More, and then there's a Google Sites option. Okay. Let's go ahead and open one of these up. All right, so this is literally your web page. You can see you have some editing options over here on the right and the top, and you have what would be like your home page right here. I'm gonna go to one of my sites here and see like what I've added to mine. Obviously, I've added a lot to this home page here. This is one we used for summer A²I program. And I tried to keep the important stuff easily accessible up here at the top. And then whatever additional information, some students like to actually read the words and click on stuff. Some people are more visual and need like a visual hint to remind them to click on stuff. So I put them both on there. Some general information about the class. And then if they're lost or confused, contact information, my Google Voice, email, all the important stuff that you'd see on a normal web page, I tried to list right here. All right, so here is an example of a tennis one that I created. How do you go about doing any of these things right here? How do you go about changing the theme? How do you go about adding buttons that link to stuff? How do you go about adding other pages? So first, I would select theme over here. So on our page that we just created, you could select a theme, whatever you want it. If you're trying to make it look more professional or fun, you can pick some themes and some colors that you want to work with. You can title your page, whatever your club or class is, Mr. blah, blah, blah's English class. And from here, you have different ways of adding stuff to this home page. An easy way to add stuff to your homepage is to just double click on any open space. So down here underneath the title, I can just double click and I can add pictures, text, stuff that's already listed in my Google Drive, embed links like YouTube videos. That's just a quick option for the most common type of stuff. Otherwise, you can go over here to the right side and insert. You have more options for different types of layouts that you could quickly create that have some pictures and text already listed. If you have a sports page, the right might be more what you're looking for, where you can organize data a little bit better. So let's say I wanted a couple of pictures and a couple of things that I could label under here. You could go ahead and, let's just say these are going to be some gallery pictures. There we go. And you could add some gallery stuff here. Once you get some stuff listed in here, let's say you want these to be links to other pages. How do you get it so that you can click on this gallery right here and go to another page? On the top right, other than your home page, let's say you wanted to add additional pages. So right now, all I have is my home page. I don't have anything else. You'll notice on my other websites that I have, I have several additional pages that I could jump to very quickly. How do I make these other pages? I just go to page, and then on home, these three little dots on the right is where I can add additional pages. So let's say I want to add a sub page to the home page, and let's call this bio, teacher bio. Yep. And now on this page, you can add pictures, you can add everything you want about yourself. Here's an example of what I did for my teacher bio page. For the tennis team, added some quick links, email. I didn't put my Google Voice number on there, but convenient way for students or parents to very quickly get to know you. In any case, you'll notice now on the home page, if I go back to the home page, there's now a drop down that will take you to any sub pages that you've created. So if you have a class schedule page, if you have teacher bio, if you have assignments, whatever additional pages that you add, literally as soon as you add them, they're going to be available whenever you're ready to publish. All right. So now that we have an idea of how to create pages and how to add content to them, you don't need to know any sort of coding or anything. It's literally just picking and dragging files either from your computer, or in certain cases, you sometimes have to add stuff from your Google Drive. So let's say that I want to add, like a PDF is a pretty common type thing that we want to be able to make sure people can view. You can't just add that from a file on your computer. Like if I click here, the only thing I can upload is a picture from my computer or from my Google Drive. There is no option to add a PDF. So if I wanted to add a PDF, then I could add from my Google Drive. I can add whatever type of things I want to embed from my Google Drive. So let's say I want to add something from my Google Drive. I just click on the Google Drive symbol, and wherever I've stored, something, let's say I want to add something from tennis. I can add, here's a good thing I just added to my website here. This is the on-court guidelines during COVID-19, what to do here, and it will add this. And I need to make sure a couple things before I add this. So with Fort Worth ISD, after the malware infection that we had last year, they set up a ton of restrictions for what students could view on their Chromebooks, as well as some additional instructions for teachers. And we found this out while we were doing summer school with A²I, that sometimes when we were adding stuff or even just viewing the website, that there were strict restrictions, and that's what we were trying to avoid. So in my Google Drive, if I go down to tennis, I actually need to make sure that I don't have any restrictions on these items. So if I go here to my Open Court guidelines and open it up, I do need to check on the share settings to make sure there are no restrictions, like you have to have Fort Worth ISD access to be able to view it. So when I open it up in my Google Drive to share it, I need to make sure that anyone can view this link. If you're using your Fort Worth ISD Google account, the default setting is only fortworthisd.org can view. You can restrict it to different domains or different, .org, fwisd.org, whatever the options are, or you can make sure anybody that has the link can view it. Another way to link stuff is with these shareable links from Google Drive. If I was to copy this link, then if I go back to my page here, anything that I typed in, like earlier I had a gallery, let's say it's a different website, someone else, maybe Twitter is hosting our gallery or something, I could just highlight the text that I want to be a hyperlink and click on link and paste in whatever link I want it to take it to. So let's say you want it to take it to another website. If you want to take it to a different page on your website, right here, you literally just highlight the words, link, and I can take it to my teacher bio page. I can take it to a website. Whatever I needed to do, I'd be able to link it from there. So the most common types of links are that I use are to other web pages. So notice right here on this web page here, if I click on this link that I've created, this link is taking me to a different sub page of my own website. It gives instructions on how to join my Khan Academy class, make sure they're using the right codes, all the different lessons available for each unit that we had this summer. This is not taking me to a different website. You also have the option for links to take you to different websites. Like on my tennis page here, at the beginning of this summer, I added information about COVID-19, and I always wanted it to be up to date where I didn't have to do it. So I just linked it to the CDC homepage because I know they keep that up to date. So obviously, the more that you can link to stuff that updates itself, the more convenient it is. So another useful tool that I found is one of the things that teachers are supposed to have this for digital learning is a teacher schedule and information that host weekly lesson plans. And for one, I know that I wouldn't want to be updating that on my own and then also posting it on the website. So what I've done here for tennis is I embedded a Google Calendar that's linked to my personal Google Calendar for tennis. So you'll notice here right now, the first thing that's on listed on my calendar is practice for Wednesday, August 5th. If I go to my Google Calendar anywhere on my computer or my cell phone and I change some things around, like I'm like, oh, we have to cancel practice or, whatever the case is, I'm going to move these to Monday and Tuesday of next week. When I go back to my web page and let's say I just loaded it and it refreshes, then it automatically changes those dates for me. I don't have to go into the website and update that stuff. Same thing if you had like a class calendar. If you update your personal Google Calendar, you can have it linked where it automatically updates on the website as well. This has been very useful for making sure kids are up to date. They can actually download this calendar to their own phones or Google accounts, and that way they don't have to update stuff anyway. It automatically shows up on their own calendars on their phones. It does take a little bit of they do have to have a Google account. They do have to know how to use their Google Calendar, but a lot of my students actually do use this. All right, the last thing I wanted to, I know a lot of you guys doing lessons, is I did want to talk about videos really quickly. We did a lot of those this summer, and the most common platform for hosting videos is on YouTube. So let's say, I wanted to post some of these videos that we have here. These are linked directly to YouTube videos. How do you do that? Real easy. From the YouTube site, if you have a video that you'd like to post, either one of your own videos or one that you found on YouTube. This looks like a good one. Ooh, mariachi music. Good job, Kyle. All you need to do is click on share, and it gives you a link that you can embed directly into your website. So copy. Let's say I wanted to post this one. Let's say videos. whatever, if you have a unit and a lesson number, something like that, I can now highlight, oops, and link directly to that YouTube video. So whenever I publish this, that will be an active link directly to that YouTube video. So now that we have a decent idea of how to add pictures, images, the important stuff like PDFs is the biggest thing that people run into having sharing issues. How do you publish this? Well, obviously you can just click on publish. This web address, you can literally try something, just some words that are related to your class name, like Mr. Munyon's class. And it'll automatically turn the rest of that into a link. But at some point in your web address, it'll have Mr. Munyon's class. So you'll notice right here below, this is actually going to be the link to my class right here. Whatever you wanted to create, obviously it'll just add sites.google.com/view and then Mr. Munyon sites on there. Let's see, I think there's one more option before I can actually publish. Let's see if I've published it already. Up here where it says publish, you can obviously publish any changes. You can revert, undo stuff that you published, or view your published site. Mine's not looking too good, but I did want to just publish real quick and check to make sure that some of the stuff that I added worked. So I do have my teacher bio page. This gallery did link to something. Oh yeah, the COVID-19 stuff. And then this video should take me to the actual video that I had on here. Yep, looks like it. All right, so I went through a lot of this kind of quick, so I did want to open the floor to some questions because I know some of you guys are maybe have never even viewed this before, or some of you guys have some specific questions right now. What can I go over again, or what did I skip the first time around?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Do you mind going back to the A Squared I website for me?
Mm-hmm.
How do you make the top right corner with the home, live lessons, video lessons?
Okay.
How do you make it look like that?
Okay, so these are your pages. Go ahead. Did you have an additional question?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so these would be the additional pages right here. So right now I have my home, and underneath that will be a drop-down option for teacher bio. So on this site, you'll notice anything that I added as a sub-page under home will be listed under there. So this one that has the drop-down, it would also show teacher bio right there. If I wanted to add a different page, I just add a duplicate page, and you can say copy of home. I usually make about 6 or 7, but don't have them published. Is there not another option where you don't have to add a duplicate page? I don't know. Anyways, it'll be on the same level. So now you'll notice right here, there's one it's not a drop down of home, it's its own separate page. It's not a sub page of home. So if I just kept adding more and more of those pages right there, obviously you can edit them. Just double click and you can edit the name of it. So schedule and assignments. It automatically starts adding those at the top. And if you wanted to add a sub page to that, then you would just go in there and click add a sub page. And now it has a drop down for that sub page as well.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
Mr. Munyon?
Yes.
How do you solve the PDF problem?
Okay, so most commonly what I do for mine, let's say I go back here. There's 2 ways that I can do this. Actually, I did it more on this page. Additional resources. There we go. So sometimes I do them all through my Google Drive. So same place that you were able to access Google Sites is where I post or keep all of my PDF files that I add to the website. So one way to add PDFs is to embed them directly from your Google Drive. So when you click on, basically if you want it to look like this on your web page where they can kind of have a visual, see what it is before they click on it, there's one way to do it. And if you just want to have some text where they click on it and it takes them to the Google Drive PDF, you can do it like this. And that's just typing in some text and then posting the link in there. So how are the 2 different ways that you can do the PDFs? Either have it where they have they can actually view the PDF before they click on it, or it's just the text. So let's say I want to do both of those. So let's say I want to add an actual PDF. I'd just click on Drive over here, and I'd go to wherever my PDF is stored in my Google Drive. And it's actually really easy to add stuff to your Google Drive. So let's say you're in your Google Drive, and you can either store it here on the main page, or if you have files created, it's just like in Windows, you can add files and add files and add anything you want to those files. So in Tennis, if I wanted to add something here, you could either right click and upload files from anywhere on your computer, or if you just downloaded something from the internet and it pops up down here in that little box that shows you just downloaded, you can click and drag. So if you have some window open with, let me get rid of this here so I can see a little bit better. So let's say I have oh, you guys can't see that file thing I just pulled over. But if you have a window open with files in there, then you should be able to literally just click and drag into there as well. So if I wanted to drop something in there, you literally, I don't know if you guys can see that I'm clicking and dragging something in there right now because it's not the internet page, but it should. You can either click and drag from stuff you just downloaded, you can open up files on your computer and click and drag, or you can right click and then go search those files as well. All right, so let's say I just added this review here, this Mr. Lindsay review. Before I do anything on my website, I want to make sure that the sharing options are correct. So I open it up, I click on share and make sure that it's not restricted. If you're using your Fort Worth ISD account, PDFs especially is where you run into so many issues. You just want to click on those three dots. And right now this is restricted. And the reason I do this is because we had a ton of issues, even with students that were using their Chromebooks. If anything was restricted to, even if it said fortworthisd.org, we had tons of kids that had issues with that. So change it to anyone with the link. And now I can either copy this link right here, or from my web page, where was that at? Yep. So, or I can, when I was back on this page, I went to my Google Drive and I found what I was looking for here. Click on it and insert. It will add it as a viewable little image of a PDF, and you can make this as big or as small as you want. The other way to do this is to just add some text. So let's say I want to insert text. You can go to insert text, or you can just double click on your screen and click on text. Once I have it typed in there, I can highlight it, and the link option already pops up in there. And since I've already copied the link, the sharing link that I know is not restricted, then underneath where it shows the link, then I'll just paste, Control V, and paste that link in there. So now when I publish this, both of these, they have the option to expand this to a larger view, or they can just click on this and it automatically opens up the page. So when I go to publish, after the first time it lets you review your changes. You can skip that option if you want to, but after your first time it does let you review your changes. So now on my published site, I don't remember what I did with that one. There we go. It should have those additional things listed in there. So yeah, now it's a link to the review PDF, and it should also, as soon as it loads up there, I can open this up and make it a bigger version as well, obviously, so students can see it. And I would say PDFs are the hardest thing to do. There is an option for posting video, or let's say I wanted to talk about videos again as well, because I know that's something if you're doing if you're actually posting lessons on here, you do have similar options for that as well. So notice here, do I have summer workouts on here somewhere? Oh, there we go. Most of the videos that I posted for lessons were just listed as text. So you'll notice back here when I have my video lessons, they were all just text that I linked to the YouTube page. So when you click on this, it'll take you directly to the YouTube video. However, some students are more visual and they may need this option. You can actually have these same little things where you have little images, little thumbnails of the clips as well. That way, for your visual students, if they need to go back and reference something several times, they'd be able to do that as well. So how do you make different? Obviously, the text is you just go to the YouTube page, wherever it says share, you click on share and get the link. There's no restrictions on YouTube, so you don't have to worry about it. Just copy the link, and you could add to your web page from there. So if I wanted to add a video here, I would just type in some text and then highlight it and link to the YouTube page. The other way to do this is embed. So notice down here under insert, if you want to get the little thumbnail pictures of YouTube videos to show up, is click on embed and paste the link to the YouTube page. And it'll have instead of having some text that links to the YouTube, it will actually be a little thumbnail picture, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. And what I usually do with stuff like this is I also underneath or beside it, I'll add some text that links as well. That way they could either click on the video or the link. So I don't even remember what this was. Interior angles of polygons or something. And that way I could also link it there. So insert texts, highlight it, and also link there. So when I publish this, either one of these will take them directly to the YouTube video. But most of this stuff you can literally like click and drag it wherever you want. Is there an option to center this? Oh yeah, let's make it in the center. That way when I publish, it's got kind of a title of the video on the top of there or the bottom, wherever they click, both of them will link there. One other useful thing that I found just since I remembered it, whenever I create pages, the very first thing I do is I add a back to home page at the bottom, which most websites have something like this. Or I have some stuff where it links to other similar pages. So like in my video lessons here, maybe they weren't sure if something was in video lesson 2 or 3. Instead of having to click back and then go back to video lessons and then go to the next video lesson, at the bottom of the page, if they didn't find what they were looking for, I went ahead and linked the other pages as well. So if I want to jump to 4, all you do is add to other pages. So I know it's been a while since I've done that, but you literally just add some text, call it your home page. If you want to go to unit 2 or 3 or whatever, I guess, teacher bio, you type some text wherever you want to jump to, highlight it, and you'll notice some of your options are the other sub pages that you've created. So this bio one will take me to the bio. This home one, I can highlight it and click on link, and it'll take me to the home page. So when I publish this, down at the bottom of whatever pages you want, you can have an option to jump back to home pages or jump back to whatever similar pages that are listed like that one. So how do you make it look nice? A couple of things that you can do. On the left side, you do have options for changing, you'll notice up here, how did I get like the title of my website and this little link that shows up? I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little symbol on the web page. It doesn't have, oh yeah, can you guys see that? The little tree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. In any case, how do I get that stuff on there? That's on the title page options up there in the top right corner. You can get your logo and your favicon. Your logo will be what shows on the actual web page, and your favicon is what shows up on tabs on Chrome. So you know how like Fort Worth ISD has an apple that shows up. If you add it to your favorites, there's a little symbol that goes with it. You can add a little symbol that goes with your web page. You can add a little picture of your head. You can add a little math plus minus symbol. You can add, like I did, some Fort Worth ISD stuff, whatever it wants. You do have that option. Let's say you type some stuff in and it's kind of hard to see. You do have the option of making stuff easier to see. Where is this one at? Let me find one that I had to work with a little bit here. All right, so let's say whatever text and whatever background picture you use, you're like, well, that doesn't work out. You actually have the option of making it more readable. Like maybe it'll darken the background and change the font color you have here without having to like redo everything. So like, let's say you tried something and that's what you really wanted your background to be, but it didn't work. You can click on a few different options over here. On the left side is where you can change like the color of different sections of your web page. So you'll notice I have this blue background, and then I have dark gray, white, gray, just kind of sectioning off the different sections over here. The way you do that is on the left side of your page. There's these three main options that I choose from, and if you want something other than those theme options that it gives you, you could add your own image if you wanted to. So notice here, like I added an image background. This is a calculator keyboard here, and then I just alternated between dark gray and white, or light gray and white, and then down at the bottom of each one of my pages, I made it the dark theme color as well. So that way they kind of students get used to on the website. Any of my pages should be, they know that it's the bottom of the page once you get to the dark blue color on there. And I think that's on all of my pages. Yeah, so all of them, that's where I put the same information down there and changed it to the dark color just so they know it's the bottom of the page on there. All right, additional questions. I went through a lot of this quickly, but in all honesty, a lot of it is also really kind of intuitive, just double clicking on stuff and you see the options to add. Once you get the stuff in there and linked, I like to publish and just check and make sure the links work. We did have a couple of videos that didn't get linked like we thought they were going to be linked. Basically, the main things that I mentioned, I think I mentioned a little bit on the email whenever I invited you guys, is there's no restrictions. It's the Google site is not hosted through Fort Worth ISD. So whenever Fort Worth ISD last year was having all their internet issues and people couldn't log on to Focus and couldn't get into Google Classrooms through their page and didn't have logons, none of those are going to affect your website. Students don't have to have a logon to access your website. They're not going to be restricted. If for some reason Fort Worth ISD internet goes down, the web page will still be there. And parents as well are able to view it without having to log into anything. So if you're doing it for like a sports or for your class or whatever it is, there's no restrictions on there, and it's not hosted through Fort Worth ISD, which means even if you made it on your Fort Worth ISD account and everything with Fort Worth ISD internet disappeared, your website would still be there. All right, I think I covered everything on my checklist here. I think most of you guys probably, if you're going to create one, could get started pretty easily. You guys still have my email, so if you have additional questions, I'm more than happy to answer those for you. Hop on a Zoom with you and walk you through something if you needed additional help as well, okay? Some of you guys are heading out right now, so goodbye. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to stick on, if you have some additional questions but don't want to waste everybody else's time, then you're welcome to stay on. I'll stay on here if anybody has some additional questions.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Do you know there is any place on the district website where they have some sort of notes, how to walk you through creating this, like a good, I know you have explained many of them, just if you want to refer to anything, like any reference material on the district.
Warcheka at Northside, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce her name, but the librarian will actually link your web page to the Fort Worth ISD Northside page. So that's something I had up earlier. Let me do here. She is able to, I'm not answering your question at all, but notice under the Fort Worth ISD Northside page, when you click on tennis, it does take you to my Google site. She is able to do that. Another tutorial thing here, I am recording this and I will send it out to people, but there is just a Google Suite thing that I'll send out to as a reply to this email that tells you all about Google Meets, Google Slides, Google Forms, tons of different Google things, and Google Sites, I think, is on there about how to make a Google website. And it links you, it has like 10 different Google things that there's a bunch of different links that show you how to, make all of the different Google features. And I'll send it on a reply, I'll email to this Google Sites thing that I sent out to Northside.
And then Mr.
Thank
Byrne,
you.
what Mr. Munyon is saying yesterday or some other day, Miss Warzeka, the librarian, said if we made an appointment with her, we could come and she'll sit next to us and walk us through a lot of the stuff Mr. Munyon talked about or anything else.
Yeah.
She's very good with technology, and she said she has to actually be on campus starting next week. So if we email her and you're, you want to come up, she can physically walk you through, or like Mr. Munyon says, she can try to Zoom you through. Because I know I'm going to need extra help.
Yeah.
But Munyon already.
Okay.
Yay.
I thought, in all honesty, when I started, I thought that it was going to be more complex than it is. Like the options, you double click and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. Or you look on the right side of the screen and you have the options to insert, and you can usually find anything you're looking for right there. I thought it was going to be more complex than it was, but it was actually pretty intuitive there. Oh, something else, just to throw out the idea, you can actually, I just started linking my website at the bottom of my email. So as part of my signature. So anytime I send any emails to any parents, any class, anybody else, there's a link to my website at the bottom of my email on my email signature. All right, well, it was good seeing some of you guys again. Take care, and I'll stay on here if you have any additional questions. Bye-bye.